People who went to school with celebrities before they were famous. What were they like? Brad Pitt went to my high school when my mom was there. She said he was really nice and kind of a nerd. Hung out with the other theater kids mostly. I can't picture him as a theater kid. I always felt like he was just a really good looking guy who happened to fall into acting and everything just worked out for him. I read somewhere a long time ago that Brad Pitt was turned down for tons of roles/auditions when he first started out, but he stayed persistent. If true, that is not just falling into acting. My mom was close friends with Winona Ryder in high school. She dressed in all black a lot and was made fun of by other kids, but my mom, her and a couple others were a pretty tight group. She said Winona used to eat salad for lunch a lot to diet, and she'd put a ton of dressing on it to the point that it wasn't even healthy anymore, haha. After her movie Heath, she made them go and watch it together. She said she was really sweet, and Winona highlighted her picture in my mom's yearbook, which was pretty cool to see. I remember hearing a story of her running into a woman somewhere who she used to go to high school with who used to bully her, and she asked for her autograph. And Winona more or less told her to go fuck herself. Went to school with Khaled. He was one of those kids that always pretended to be stoned but never smoked. He acted very flamboyant and used that to always be around girls. Never made a move on them though. Strange fellow. This is like the perfect description of Khaled Noel Mayo. This might be the weirdest response here. The complete surface level persona is really funny. Went to high school with Mac Miller. Dude was fucking dedicated. He was selling CDs in school and always had posters up and stuff. We weren't really in the same social circles, but we had some classes together. He was a goof and a generally good guy. RIP. I know a girl who used to date him before he got famous. They stayed friends after breaking up, even after he started taking off. I've never heard of anyone having anything bad to say about Mac. Truly a good man. RIP. Went to school with Eminem's daughter in high school. She was a cool girl and always gotten a lot of attention because of her dad, lol. I met her at Total Soccer once, and she was really nice. She also played volleyball against my sister a couple times, and one of the games I was pretty sure I saw Kim, lol. She was wearing shades inside the building, I guess trying to deflect attention, but it only brought more, lol. Wait, is Total Soccer a chain? Thought that was a store local to my hometown. Unless Eminem's daughter grew up in my hometown, which I highly doubt. Went to high school with Aaron Judge of the Yankees. Was a specimen of an athlete at a very young age. I was older than him, but it was a small school, so basically everyone knew everyone. Ran into him at a mutual friend's party the first year he was called up to the majors, and the guy graciously accepted a congratulations, then began to ask about me and my life as the local bartender in our small ass town. Remembered my name and everything. Guy is extremely humble and an overall class act. I've met him through photographing baseball. Extremely humble and actually quite funny. Glad to have him as a Yankee. I went to school with Terry Crews for a couple years. Nice kid and a great artist. He and one other kid used to have drawing competitions before class started. Somebody would yell out a comic book character and he and the other kid, also a great artist, would both draw. I can't remember who was better, because it was a lifetime ago. He punched me in the chest once at an assembly and totally winded me. I was being a dick, so I had it coming. If Terry Crews punches you, you deserve it. Kelly Clarkson's family and a section of mine were really close before she got famous. I was originally introduced to her as another of my cousins. I have, and know, over 70 first and second cousins. My family reunions are massive. She was pretty cool when we were kids. She's a couple years older than me, but was always really nice, down to earth. and big on church group stuff. My family has old videos of me and her singing together, and of her singing for my aunt and uncle's wedding, all from before American Idol. No, I couldn't sing worth crap then or now, but her love of music was contagious. She seems super down to earth and genuine just from watching her on TV shows. One of those celebrities that you feel like you could just start a conversation and not be intimidated. There's some old videos of her singing some songs with Steel Panther back when they were still called Metal School and played clubs in LA. She's drunk off her ass and singing some classic rock songs, Sweet Child O' Mine and Don't Stop Believin', which she didn't even know the words to. She seemed to be having a lot of fun doing it. Can't believe no one has mentioned Drake yet. He went to my high school, though in different grades, so I didn't know him. He was already famous from Degrassi High, and he was hilariously pompous. This school had quite a few rich families, and the rich kids loved him of course. I mean, he was a very rich kid named Aubrey, living in a rich white/Jewish area. His backquote started from the bottom stuff in songs and backquote street accent is hilariously fake. Remember when he lost the Rolling Stone cover because Philip Seymour Hoffman died, and he ran to Twitter to cry about how unfair that was to him? His image is so carefully constructed by his management team. He's pretty much hip-hop's version of the Backstreet Boys. This wasn't before she was famous, but probably at her peak of fame. I went to school with Jodie Sweetin. She was just there for 7th grade, before she moved to another school. On the second day of class an announcement came over the PA that we weren't to bother her on school grounds, although I seriously doubted anyone cared any. That year we had pet together, and she became good friends with my bully. Fuck you, Crystal. I remember one day sitting on the ground on the tennis court with the rest of class, while the pet teacher was doing something. I don't remember what. I had my legs stretched out in front of me, and even though the class was sitting on the court, we weren't bunched together. There was plenty of room to walk among us. Jodie was walking up to the front to talk to the teacher and went out of her way to step over my legs when she cold Weasley just gone around. She gave me the dirtiest look ever, like I'd kicked her dog or verbally assaulted her. When my bully, fuck you, Crystal, would start in on calling me names, Jodie was more than happy to lend a verbal hand while smirking. Never watched another Full House episode after that, and for the longest time my stomach would turn whenever anyone gushed about it. No, that makes me so upset. I always loved her on Full House. Hopefully she's matured now. Went to school with a daughter of the president of the country. Technically it wasn't her who's famous, outside of a few TV appearances during ceremonies and the inauguration. But it was funny, after her dad was elected, how we'd go for a lunch or something, and she'd be stealthily pointing at inconspicuously looking men in plain clothes a few tables away who were the bodyguard/secret service. Then those guys would be trailing us 20 to 30 meters, hiding in the crowd so as not to be obvious, etc. Weird experience overall. She was pretty down to earth. Her behavior didn't change at all, except leaving the school through the back door as the media, roughly a week after the election, were essentially camping in front of the main entrance trying to get an interview. My sister goes to the same University of Michigan, as Barack Obama's daughter. My sister had a few interactions with her and said that she's super nice. Can say the same about Melia. She's a really down to earth, quality person. I went to high school with Shawn Mendes. Didn't know him personally, as I was in 12th grade, while he was a 9th grader. Despite that age gap, I knew who he was. Girls in my grade were already gushing about how cute and talented he was. I'm friends with a handful of people who are very close to him, and I'm happy to say that he seems like a really kind-hearted person. He never portrayed an ounce of arrogance. He was always respectful to those around him. I came back for a grade 13, and he was back for grade 10. Ended up being his last year in regular HS. His fame started to pick up real momentum, but he remained the same grounded individual. It's been a treat to watch his career flourish, and I will always be a fan. Plus, it's cool watching friends from high school casually traveling the world with him. Those guys got it good. Edit. I feel like I missed an important part. I remember him getting the gears from a lot of males in my grade and I don't think he ever got too worried about it. Kid was cool and level-headed, and he's done wonders for himself.